Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting of August 18th, 2025, 6 p.m. in Room 3 of Town Hall. Welcome all that are viewing and those who are here present this evening. The first item on the agenda is the signing of the warrant. Do I have a motion, gentlemen?
A motion, Mr. Chair, to sign the warrant.
And I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Approval of the regular session minutes of July 28, 2025.
Yeah, motion to approve regular session minutes of July 28, 2025.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Approval of the executive session minutes of July 28, 2025.
Yeah, exactly. A motion to approve executive session minutes of July 28, 2025.
And I would second that as well, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Public hearings, the first public hearing is YVS Inc., DBA Peters Market, an amendment to the package store wine and malt beverages license, change of stock interest and change of manager. Is there someone here representing?
Attorney Perlman,
Attorney
I think,
Perlman.
is on.
He's on the,
Attorney Perlman, gotcha.
yeah.
Good evening, Attorney Perlman.
Get me? Can I be heard?
Yes, I can.
Yes, Ken.
Thank you.
Okay, great. My name is Arthur Perlman. I represent YVS Inc., it's a Massachusetts corporation doing business as Peters Market at 75 Purchase Street in Milford. They're seeking a transfer of 50% of the stock interest in the corporation from Padmasri Patel, who was the 100% owner, to Dexaben Patel, who will now be a 50% owner. It is also seeking a change of manager on the alcohol license from Padmasri Patel to Dexaben Patel. The corporation holds an alcohol license here in wine, and therefore the transfer of stock interest and the change of manager on the alcohol license must be approved by the town of Milford and the ABCC. Published notice of the hearing was accomplished by the town. Mailed notice to abutters is not required for a change of stock interest or the change of manager. Dexaben Patel is currently living at 71 Jones Road in Hopedale and is working at Pack Mackage, which has a beer and wine alcohol license. The current operating hours of the store will be maintained. The layout of the store will be maintained. Nothing regarding the operation of the business is changing. This is all about ownership and a change of manager on the alcohol license. The new owner and manager are familiar with the law relative to the sales of alcohol. They will continue to uphold the statutory law as well as any rules and regulations of the town of Milford regarding the sale of alcohol. I respectfully request that the transfer of stock interest of the corporation and the change of manager on the alcohol license be approved by this board. Thank you.
Any questions, gentlemen?
I have no questions, Mr. Chairman. I think Attorney Perlman explained everything very well.
Michael?
I have no questions either, Mr.
Given
Chairman.
that this is a public hearing, is there anyone else that would like to speak to this matter? Seeing no one else that's interested in speaking to this matter, do I have a motion?
A motion, Mr. Chair, because everything appears to be in order with the department heads, with the town. And as Attorney Perlman said, there was no change in operation of the business, so I make a motion to approve the application that's filed by YVS Incorporated, doing business as Peters Market at 7 Purchase Street. And the reason for this application is for an amendment to its package store wine and malt beverages license for a change in stock intended for P. Mashri A. Patel, who will be transferring 50% of its ownership interest to Dexaben A. Patel, and name Dexaben A. Patel as manager of the alcoholic license. And again, like I mentioned before, all paperwork is in order and everything seems to be in good form.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous. Thank you, Attorney Perlman.
Thank you, Attorney Perlman.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night.
The next item on the agenda is a public hearing for, excuse me, Traditio Daroca Inc., DBA Oba Oba Bar, ARIA Transfer General on-premises all alcohol beverages license. Good evening, please come forward, thank you. If you could introduce yourselves, I'd appreciate it.
My name is Christopher Flood. I'm an attorney from Marlboro. This is Jao Ruggiero with me. And they're seeking to have a transfer of license at 119 East Main Street. It's the current location of a place called the Vianda Bar. And the gentleman purchased the business, and they're seeking to have the license transferred into their name. It's an all-alcohol pouring license. It's they're going to have pub food, Brazilian food, and alcohol. The hours would be pretty much the same that the current restaurant is running. We did submit with the application several months of bank statements, as well as the purchase and sales agreement for both the real estate and the business, so that you would see the background of how they got here. It's been published in the paper about tonight's hearing, and I believe the town also took care of the certified letters to the abutters. The gentlemen are familiar with the operation of a restaurant and know full well that both they and all their servers are going to be tips trained, so that nobody serves alcohol to minors or to people that are intoxicated. So they are well aware that it's a privilege, not a right, and they intend to be good business people and neighbors in Milford.
Okay, thank
So
you.
there were floor plans submitted with it, showing it's pretty much the current configuration of the existing Vienna Bar. I believe there's 3 entrances and exits.
Yes.
So is there any specific questions you have for either of us?
Yeah, the only thing, Attorney Flood, is that all the department heads seem to be okay and approved it. The Board of Health did say that the restaurant has been closed for some time, and they'll need a complete an application and inspection before reopening.
Okay.
Okay?
So that would be from the inspectional services?
The Milford Board of Health, right.
Okay, Board of Health.
Room 6.
Thank you. Make sure that's in my
Very welcome.
notes.
Any other questions, gentlemen?
If
A motion?
A motion, Mr. Chair, to, I make a motion to approve the application filed by Tradecchio da Rocca Incorporated, doing business as Oba Oba Bar, for the transfer of general on-premises all alcoholic beverage license held by Vienna Bar Incorporated, doing business at Tradecchio da Rocca of 119 East Main Street. The new manager will be Joa Geraldo Horojo.
Which is the gentleman seated next to me.
That was correct pronunciation, right?
Yes, you did.
Okay. I'm from the Heights.
Pending the acceptance from the board-
Exactly.
from the Board of
From the
Health.
Board of Health, right.
So we're going to approve it tonight, but you have to come forward with the appropriation or approval from the Board of Health,
Correct.
okay?
So my understanding is after the approval, I don't know if you voted yet, but after you have voted, the next it goes to the ABCC for their investigation, and then independently, he'll reach out to the Board of Health.
Correct.
Very good.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And once they give you the certification, just make sure they notify the town administrator, that's all you have to do.
Okay. We'll reach out to the Board of Health, find exactly what they want, probably tomorrow.
They're right around the corner.
Yeah, it'll
So if he comes in during the day, it's right on the same floor.
Perfect, thank you.
it'll just be an application fill out and an inspection.
Okay,
Right, opening.
thank you.
Michael, you're all set, you seconded?
I second it.
That is approved. Thank you, Attorney Flood.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
No one from the public?
And good luck to you,
So
sir.
is there anyone from the public that would like to speak to this matter, given that it's a public hearing? Seeing no one, again,
Congratulations. Good luck.
congratulations,
Good luck,
good luck
sir.
with the restaurant. Next public hearing is Attorney Jerry Moody concerning the Verizon cable television contract.
Ooh,
There he is. There he is.
I'm Jerry Moody, former town council, present assistant, if you will. And this is on Verizon, the cable license. Verizon's been here, I think, for maybe 15 years. They're just coming off a 5-year license. Before that, there was a 10-year license. I can't even recall if there was one before that. But they're one of the 2 cable providers in town, and they have to renew the license. We've gone through the process. I've notified you folks, given you copies of some of the drafts, and pointed out some of the issues. And it's been pretty straightforward. Most of the changes they sought in the language in the current license really had to bring it into conformance with federal law. A number of things have changed in terms of regulations, a number of decisions made that affect other things. The important issues have always been, frankly, money. And we, in the last license, reached the maximum that we can extract for PEG access support, which is 5% of gross revenues. So we've been getting that, so it's still 5%. We have no ability to ask for more. That's federal law, limits it to the 5%. The one area that we did have an ability and still have an ability to work on is capital funding. And in the last license, they provided, for that last 5-year license, $234,000 in capital funding that the PEG Access Group can obviously use to improve their facilities. They wanted to do less than that, understandably, because their subscribership has been dropping, but they finally came to an agreement, and they agreed to provide, once again, the same $234,000 as capital for this 5-year license, which is good. Again, as I said, their numbers are dropping, and they, both companies, if that 5-year period I mentioned, 2019 to 24, dropped in the range of 38 to 39%. And that continues down. People are cutting the cable and going to streaming services, DirecTV and all of that. The model is going to change in the future. Right now, it's the same, but of course, we get 5% of the gross income. They get less gross income. That drops. And so our cable access entity, which we provide the money to, they're squeezed. And I'm part of that, too. And they've been had to make a lot of cuts and reductions, and they've been able to provide, I think, pretty good service in the same service, but it's getting harder and harder. The capital money here will help, but it doesn't help in the day-to-day operations, and they've been working as best they can to make cuts, to make changes, to live within that dropping 5%, but the day's going to come when that's going to get harder and harder. Hopefully, we can make it another 5 years on this. That time, there'll be a new license with Comcast, too. The model will change at some point. But those are the essential differences in this license. Yeah, I think the result is the best we can do financially, frankly. And I strongly recommend that you approve it. We're here, it's a public hearing, once again, so you can hear from, and then after you hear from anybody in the public that's interested, if you could approve it. And I think Attorney Villani has a couple of originals that you could then sign, and I'll get the signatures from Verizon once you've actually approved it. Sure. Any questions? I'm happy to try to answer.
I don't have any questions. I read through the materials, so I'm good.
I have no question. I went over a lot of it. I got some information, and I think that Jerry did a great job with this. Most of the important things that I noticed when I was reading it and underlining things was that what the public would be interested in. First of all, Jerry mentioned the right to operate under Mass General Laws 166A, which is great. The system maintenance and customer support is in this contract as well. Their obligation to provide public and education and government access and funding in various public buildings is also mentioned in here. Payments are specified that I wrote down $78,000 for times 3.
They'll pay that $234,000 over 3 years, not 5.
Right.
$78,000 for 3 years.
It'll come to a total of $234,000. And of course, we're protected with their liability insurance as well. So I really, Jerry, a great job. Thank you for taking care of that. And that would be, if we approve it tonight, that would be, the contract would start today, right?
We dated it for tomorrow, the 19th.
Okay, the 19th, okay.
They're still working under the old contract, and this one will supersede that
Very good.
once they sign it.
Well, Jerry, you and I had conversation in my new residence. I walked around and I was looking for the cable connections, and I called and they said, there are no cable connections. I said, what do you mean there's no cable? They said, you can either get an antenna or you can stream. I said, stream?
Oh, this is at the Birch Street.
Right, and so you're 100% right. So the revenues eventually, because,
You're in tighter.
we talked about iPhones, everything's going to change, so,
Yeah, a lot of people are getting off the cable and just rely on, they've got a Wi-Fi connection, they rely upon the streaming services. They can watch, you can get a lot through the streaming services. You may not be able to get Channel 4, Channel 5, Channel 7 like this was 50 years ago, but boy, you've got thousands of channels if you do it that way, if that's what you want. And more people are doing it.
well, and to Selectman Mazzucchelli's point, thank you very much.
I'm happy to do it.
Great job. Thank you very, very much.
Are there any members of the public that have any questions, statements concerning this particular matter? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
A motion, Mr. Chair. I make a motion to approve the renewal of the cable television license granted to Verizon New England effective August 19th, 2025, for a term of 5 years. This contract was reviewed and endorsed by our special town council, Jerry Moody. I make a motion that we approve.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous.
Thank you very much, as always.
All right, thank you. If you could just sign 2 originals, and Attorney Valani, if you give me those tomorrow, and I'll get Verizon's signature. Yep. Yeah, right.
Just one, Michael, right?
No, there's 2.
Next item on the agenda is schedule appointments. The police chief, Robbie Tassino, to amend Article 5, Section 2 of the traffic rules concerning 2-hour parking.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Chief.
Evening, how are you?
We're good. How are you?
Oh, every day, paradise.
Best day of life.
That's right.
Here it is, right here. Good.
So what you have in front of you and what we're talking about, it's actually on Exchange Street, and it's kind of interesting, this portion of Exchange Street. So what I think happened is, I think, if you remember, there was some significant construction on Exchange Street not long ago, and I think all that happened is, honestly, is I think that the signs came down. I think that the signs came down, whether it was during construction, they were supposed to be put back up. But anyway, I took a good look at it, and what am I talking about? I'm talking about the open spaces. We have a good traffic policy there already with, there's 15-minute parking as you proceed down closer to Main Street. On the opposite side of the street, there's no parking past the entrance to the municipal lot, because that's a turning lane. So we do a good job. I'm talking about before that, okay? The problem is, and I made sure today that I went down Exchange Street early this morning, so at 7:15 this morning, the same cars are there as about 20 minutes ago. There's no signs. There's no signs that say either way, even though in our traffic rules and regs, it says 2-hour parking. Well, it's not, and I know the board agrees with me, it's not fair to the motorists if the police show up and start writing tickets. It's just not. These people are parking, they don't feel as it's, wrong, but literally there were 3 cars today that have been there since 7:15 this morning. And, there's some language in there, and I worked with the town administrator's office. There's some language in there that didn't make sense to me. It said, following a holiday, or, my recommendation is we take that all out of there. We post it for the hours that we specified, 2-hour parking, just like Main Street. And this is going to benefit the couple businesses that have come up, the restaurants. And my argument there is that, well, after 6 o'clock at night, the municipal lot opens up, and people can park in there. It's during those hours that it's very busy there, and people wanting to go to lunch and visit the, those different restaurants and areas, and there's a law office there on Main Street that's very busy. I think basically just putting the signs up that enforce that is going to be huge for us. Give people some knowledge, and then making it all the time. Because those businesses, certainly the restaurant that's there, that the back side of it, that's open 7 days a week. And I think we address, kind of, there's a bigger umbrella here as far as the parking. Later on in the evening, someone said to me, well, why don't you make it 2-hour parking all night? And I said, the municipal lot opens up with people working. So I think basically just to keep it in line with Main Street, is really what we're looking to do here.
And you know what, Chief? If we have to tweak it, we'll,
Yeah, Yeah.
But this is a start.
yeah, and I think it's a good start, I talked to somebody who's had a business there for a while, and they're like, yeah, but it's been 2-hour parking, and, it's the law, and you can enforce it. I go, it's not posted. We're not doing it. Yeah. So that's what you have before you.
All right.
The only thing that comes to mind, I just wrote a note, and I don't know why it didn't strike me when I read this the other day. And it's up to you, Chief, but you can take a look after. I know it's 2-hour parking as far as 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And it indicates at any one time between, just a suggestion to add the words "on the same street," because That's what we ran into, the
right,
person
you move in the car.
across from Spallone.
Yeah, you move the car, right, yeah,
She would move the car
Right.
from one space to
sure.
the other.
Yeah,
And that
yeah,
was-
no, that's a great
That was
point.
rocking
Yeah.
it. Just,
Yeah, no, that's a good point, yeah.
if you'll take that as a friendly amendment.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea, yeah.
Happy to offer that. And then there is no change, am I to assume, on the Section 3?
Yeah,
So you're leaving that as it
Yeah.
was in the regs? So that I have it right, Mr. Mazzucchelli, would you mind if I made the motion?
Go right ahead.
Just add that language. I move that we amend Article 5, Section 2, limited parking time on certain streets, 2 hours. No person shall park a vehicle for longer than 2 hours at any one time between the hours of 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. in the same street.
I second that, Mr. Chair.
And I would gladly make that unanimous.
and putting a fake ticket on it doesn't work either. I don't know, maybe.
We can try
We
it.
have a couple of people doing
A
that.
blow up coming.
There's a couple of people doing that.
Couple of swear words.
Yeah, I had to look at one quite a bit. I was like, wow, this is a good fake. I was like, this is really good.
Or was one your father issued?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
That they're taking their own ticket from Boston.
yeah, yeah. But Officer Smith doesn't work in Milford. so
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't- You know what I mean? It doesn't.
Right, District 4 is not out here.
Yeah,
I'll, if you want to just take that copy, you're welcome.
yeah,
Chief.
yep.
Anything else, Chief, that you have for us
I think there's,
that I can pull forward?
The only other thing would be he's going to speak along with the fire chief on the application by Brothers.
Oh, so that's coming up
Okay,
right
that's
after
coming
your
up next.
report.
Yeah, I have a very brief one.
Sure.
Want to
Chief,
get rid of
you
it?
could stay for
You
that.
can
yeah,
stay.
yeah.
Thank you. Please.
Yeah, real quick, one item, gentlemen.
Not at all. No,
No.
please.
I've been informed by National Grid that they're doing an advanced metering infrastructure project. It'll begin in the area in Milford shortly, continue over the next several months. It's approved by the Department of Public Utilities. It involves installing electric smart meters into the homes and businesses of all customers in our service territories, and again, throughout the state of Massachusetts, including Milford, obviously. The first phase of the program deployment is to build out the communications or field area network, which will be used to communicate with the new smart meters. It's necessary that the network is set up and operational prior to National Grid installing the smart meters in Milford. They're going to begin upgrading and modernizing its existing infrastructure by installing new communications network equipment on existing and/or newly set utility poles in our area. So it's not structural. It'll take place over 3 to 6 months. Once the newly built network is set up, the installation of the smart meters will begin. The goal here is to have an integrated system consisting of the communication networks, smart meters, and various back-end systems to enable a two-way communication and data flow between customers and National Grid. It also ultimately will allow customers to monitor and better manage their electric usage, and also National Grid to be aware of and hopefully respond to the outages we get once in a while in real time to lessen that power outage for customers. So if you see them working, this is what they're working on. That's all I have tonight, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, just to let you know, Melody Solomon has her hand raised online. I don't, whatever you want to do with that.
Okay.
When we come to it,
Okay.
we'll bring Melanie in. Any questions for the town administrator?
No, thank
Chairman,
you.
all set. Thank you,
as
Ricky.
always, Rick.
Thanks much.
Thank you.
They're catching up with the water department because that's how they collect
Exactly.
the meters. Any old business?
No, I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
Have either, Mr. Chairman.
New business, first item is Brothers Tavern, LLC, a block party. There's 3 items, with a 1-day beer and wine license, 1-day entertainment license, and a permit to obstruct. And Attorney Melanie Solomon represents Brothers Tavern.
Okay?
Good evening, Melanie.
Hi there, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can,
Yes, we
thank you.
can.
And the fire chief and police chief are here as well.
Good evening.
So Melanie, if you want to just speak to the proposal, and we can go from there.
Sure. So when the tavern was purchased, this was an idea that was more from a business benefit perspective in terms of bringing Milford together, almost kind of like we do the Family Fun Day over at Town Park, but doing it so that we're catering as a business to our 21-plus community and then our under 21 community with family. That perspective changed when the Central Street Bridge closed. I will say that I was not consulted, and my boys who own the tavern were not consulted about that bridge closure. In my communications with the other businesses on Central Street, they were not consulted, and I cannot describe to you the negative impact that that has had, both on the tavern and other businesses. I've spoken with Diego from the Top Meat Market. He's the hardest hit. I've spoken with John and his brother on Friday and today about the impact on their liquor store, which is Countryside Liquors, Acai Central, and Sweet Inspirations. Every business that is open has been negatively impacted, and that shifted my direction on this proposal to include these businesses. So I've submitted 3 proposals to the town. One is for Central Street to be closed after the entrance to the municipal lot, before the tavern, and after right around the exit, which is right at Crown Electrical and Brothers. The second is for Central Street to be closed from Main Street at Central to where you can exit right at Crown Electrical. And then the third is to not shut down Central Street, but to then use the rear parking lot, which I've already spoken to Marlon about, and I've received his permission to use his parking lot behind the tavern and the driveway, which is an easement for Brothers as well as Crown, to have the block party back there and then use the sidewalk, which would benefit vendors. And I would be specifically focusing in the first instance to individuals who have businesses on Central Street to come up further up the hill. But Sweet Inspirations and Acai would benefit directly from that because they're within the immediate vicinity of the tavern. The goal is to have acoustic music in the back, starting at 11:30, going to 6, with various bands coming out. I've spoken with Irene from Crafts. They would like to do like a small beer tent in the back, pending approval from the board, which at this point, I'm not quite sure on the timing of that. I don't think that it would be feasible. But to be able to serve to them food, wine, and beer in the back with the music, potentially using the driveway section as the under 21 coming back out onto the sidewalk so that we can have kids there. If they want to play cornhole, face painting. I know that we have a local ice cream truck in town. And bringing that to Central Street and not only driving business to Brothers, but to other local establishments. In speaking with Diego and John, with Diego, we've conferenced the idea of he would come up the street and offer gift certificates that if you spend a couple of bucks there, you'll get a certain amount off. So if you spend $10, here's a $5 gift certificate. It's a little bit more difficult with John because he has a retail license. And so we've brainstormed the idea that if on the same day, and we're proposing September 20th, that if you go to Countryside Liquors and you can show me a receipt, because I would be there all day on the 20th, we will discount an appetizer for you just for giving your business to them because they've been that hard hit. Patrick from the Lottery Commission services Milford, and when he came in to offer our restaurant supplies about 2 weeks ago, he said that Countryside was down about 60 to 70% on their lottery sales. And that was baked to the Lottery Commission because they're one of the bigger vendors in town for lottery. So I've taken into consideration what it would take for detail officers, what it would take from police and fire. And The traffic on Central Street since that bridge closure, from my own personal observations, has decreased probably 60 to 70%. And that's based upon people that we don't see driving down there. We don't see the traffic. We're not seeing the speeding cars. There's parking available on Central, which is normally not an opportunity. People are parking in the municipal lot or on Main Street to come to our establishment. Our numbers have been down since the closure. We're not even getting close to occupancy when we have regular bands in on the weekend. So it's been kind of tough, and we're a newer business. And we were looking at this as being something different. When we opened, we wanted it to be a direct benefit for the tavern, but we're cognizant and aware of the businesses collectively who have been adversely affected with the bridge closure. And again, I know this isn't a Board of Selectmen problem, but none of the businesses were consulted on this. And all the businesses, John and Diego said, please, on our behalf, nobody's happy about it. And they're struggling. We don't want to close. They don't want to close. And we're hopeful that if we get approval of any of the 3 proposals that I sent to you, I'm inviting those businesses to come and we mutually support one another. So I'm hopeful that with the 3 proposals that I've given you, while it is ideal from Brothers' perspective that there be some sort of street closure, that there would be access via, depending on proposal 1 and 2, coming up Central Street the opposite way, access via the municipal lot, access via Main Street if it was only closed at Acai, that there are ways, emergency resources, to get to any emergency that may exist. And this closure is limited. We're looking at closing it, if you approve it, from 10:30 to 6:30. So closing it at 10:30, reopening it at 6:30, and it's already closed down the end of the street. We're looking at this thing still accessible from Jefferson Street. It's still accessible from North Bow Street. So there are other options where, we want to do this. We want to do it for the town. We want to do it for our fellow businesses. So one way or another, we are seeking approval, but we welcome any feedback and suggestions that the town may have.
Okay. We'll hear from the police chief, fire chief, and then if you gentlemen have any questions or statements.
So the fire chief and I worked on this. We saw the request. We actually thought about, basically proposal 1, 2, or 3. And anytime that we have a proposal like this isn't the first go-around the fire chief and I have done with this. Recently it was St. Mary's, and we do fireworks, we do all these things together. And there's a bunch of things. It's not just about the flow of traffic, it's EMS, where we're going to stage EMS. Is ambulance going to be able to get in and out? For this event, I'm not even talking about, a fire truck or an ambulance getting down Central Street, which is something that we talked about. So without droning on and going through all the variables that we discussed, I really think that option number 3 is doable. I spoke to Attorney Solomon about it, and certainly I get it, and I applaud her for looking out for her and the boys that run it, for the other patrons, because everybody is taking a hit. And the light is at the end of the tunnel. I know it's almost over, but it's not over. So that's really commendable that they're just not being self-serving in all this. But I think that option 3 is doable. I think we can do it with the minimal impact, because the other thing too, you're there trying to raise money, you're there trying to support business. You don't want to burden them with a bunch of police details, fire details, EMS details, because then the juice doesn't justify the squeeze at the end of the day. So option 3, I think I support. I know the fire chief and I talked about it, but I'll let him answer about option 3. Or
Sure. No, I agree with Chief Tassino. Option 3 has little impact on the fire department. When I looked at proposal 1, and it looks like after the Acai business, that's where we would have to detour in, so to speak. Either that or come through Jefferson Street, come through the municipal lot out by Crown Electric. The problem is the on-street parking, the way it's situated and the size of the vehicles, I don't think we're going to be able to take a left to go down Central Street. So that puts us back to Bragg Slip and Baker. Either they come through Bragg and come up the wrong way, Central Street, or come in through Baker, coming up the wrong way on Central Street with parking on both sides, coming down Central Street, and then you get a flow, we'll have opposing traffic, right? So my large trucks will have no place to go. And that's the struggle. And, you know, Central Street is, we've got some large buildings, and want to make sure that we have 100% access, and that's a concern for us. So, you know, I know that we could come up the wrong way. I don't think it's the safest thing to do. Last resort for us. We avoid that at all costs, so.
Michael?
Mr. Chairman, if I may, respectfully, I would ask that possibly we could continue this to our next meeting.
Don't
Because
think
we
there'll
do
be
have-
time, they're going to want to advertise, not to put pressure on the board, but I'm assuming if the board does vote to do something, they're going to want to advertise the event, and then, you know, unless you have a next meeting quickly.
Well, I was hoping that, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
It's
cut
okay.
you off.
No, I didn't mean to
I
cut
was
you off. My
hoping that
apologies.
we would have the opportunity with both chiefs, with yourself as the town administrator, and I'm not opposed to option 3, but I'd like to get the feel for it, and if you read the proposal, what they think they're going to have for attendance, well, those vehicles are going to have to go somewhere. So they're going to have to be on Central Street, the municipal lot, whatever. The fire chief is still going to be responsible for getting the apparatus in there, and the police chief is still going to be responsible. We know we've already had an incident there one night that was not the best. And so I would like to have the opportunity, as only one member of this board, to walk around with the chiefs and with Attorney Solomon, the owners of the establishment, yourself, Mr. Valani, and my fellow board members, and just look at option 3 and say, okay, this is what you're proposing, but throw the questions out. What if this happens? What if that happens? Because as you know, what we witnessed in the news today, everybody is being reactive instead of proactive. And I would like to be proactive. Just my opinion.
I think that we can accomplish that. I mean, the responsibility rests with the police chief and fire chief. Ultimately, I mean, if we approve option 3, it has to be workable, their approval to take place. So we would be approving with the caveat and understanding that they ultimately have to approve that the event takes place.
Yeah, you guys
Where
covered
it's
with that?
the needs of public safety have been met. And I think Attorney Solomon has been speaking to that she has been working, as the chief mentioned, Chief Tassino mentioned, and I believe that she's had a conversation with, she had a conversation with you, Chief Nelson? No? Okay, only because I read your memo, and it's fairly in-depth. I take what you're saying in particular, Chief Nelson, because if you do come up the one way with a large apparatus, you still have to get out of there. You know?
Sure.
When you're done conducting whatever business you're handling, you still have to leave. So I know that, you know, we entrust the responsibility to the people that are right there, you know. That'd be my recommendation. If we make a decision of which of the options we're comfortable with, based on what they've told us tonight, and with the understanding that it takes place as long as they have that comfort level coming up to the event itself. Because that's where the permits get issued. You have a permit to obstruct, you have an entertainment permit, and lastly, you have a one-day beer and wine license. If they're not comfortable, those permits don't get issued.
Exactly. And again, I appreciate what Michael was saying as well.
I do as well.
For the simple reason, we did have an incident, not an incident, but the same type of a situation that came before us a few years ago when the 4th of July committee wanted to have the carnival at the high school. And of course, we turned that down because of the problems of getting first responders in and out properly, traffic in and out properly. The only thing I was going to ask Attorney Solomon, too, where I did read the application, it was very well filled out, Attorney Solomon, and I thank you for your presentation as well, and we appreciate the whole reason why you would like to have this block party. The only thing I did see, and Michael brought it up a little bit too, was there's going to be from 300 to 500 attendees. And Mike came up with a good point too, Attorney Solomon, is do you have any idea if that would, take a lot of parking in the parking lot and on side streets and whatnot, where that will still have an impact on the first responders?
So can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so that is a very rough estimate. I think in all honesty, and I think all of you know, I mean, this is something that I don't recall when I was a patron of Central Tavern. I don't ever recall them doing anything like this. So that's my best guesstimate on invitee turnout. It would be my plan with our social media person who does this to let everybody know that they can park on Main Street, they can park on Park Street, they can park on Exchange Street, and to let them know other parking that's available so that we're not inundating other areas. However, if people are parking legally, the egress to get in and out of these lots would conform to what I think the police and fire chief would expect anyway, because those parking spots are already allocated. We wouldn't, if somebody was to park legally, and I am very hands-on with the tavern, if something happens, I do what I need to do first instance. If I need to contact the police in the second instance, I do. So if I were to see an obstruction, I'm going to be there all day from open to close for this event. And if I saw something, I would handle it immediately. But I'm expecting that our turnout would abide by the laws for parking and see a designated spot and park. And those spots are already allocated based upon the police and fire being able to get in and get out. So I don't see, even if the municipal lot was at 100% capacity, I don't see how that would change anything for the police and fire, because the build out of those lots, I'm sure, already conform with their needs for emergency services.
Okay. Thank you. Like I said, Mr. Chair, I appreciate what you said as well, where this is in the hands of the public safety officials. And if we do approve it, I would ask to be approved pending the more investigation on the police and fire department as you go on, where you can come up with other suggestions. Such as if you see something that you didn't see before with Melanie or the other individuals that were involved with you, that in other words, if it's approved, it's just not be approved as is. It's approved as any other suggestions that you may have to provide better public safety and better response if needed in a case like this.
Sure, if I may, I'm gonna quote the Honorable Judge Calagione. He used to say all the time when he ruled, "I have area knowledge." Right? He has area knowledge. He's from the area. He grew up in town. He used area knowledge. And oddly enough, this was B sector. This was my sector as a patrolman forever when I came here. So I know every inch of what they have proposed. And, I went over it with the fire chief, and him and I always work so well together. This is not reinventing the wheel.
Right.
And I think, going into their own space, their own parking lot, their own area, I don't see it as this, breakout. You know what I mean? I do see that on the street, right? I think that's a concern on the street, but I'm not worried about, and to just echo what Attorney Solomon said, the parking's the parking.
Right.
The parking's the parking. You know what I mean? It is laid out back in the municipal lot so the fire truck can get through. That's what it's laid out. We're not gonna let somebody park illegally just because there's an event. That's not gonna happen. So I'm confident with that, and like I said, the fire chief and I talked about the options, and we think that if the board wants to go forward with any of these options, the only option that I can endorse, and the fire chief can speak for himself, is option 3.
Okay.
Yes, Michael.
if I may. Attorney Solomon, if I may ask, and you said that you were hands-on with what's going on, if you could please work very closely with both chiefs to make sure that this event, goes off and is handled properly. I would greatly appreciate that. In no way do I or any member of this board, I can only speak for myself, want to hamper or hinder the success of any business on Central Street, but we also have a responsibility to protect. So I appreciate your comment that you're hands-on. If you could please work with both chiefs to make sure that this event is a successful event.
I will absolutely do that. I can tell you that I will send an agenda to them so that they understand the planning. If this is approved, the setup will occur the night before. I'm out of state right now, but when I get back, I will confer with the boys to determine, it was my position that if this was going to be option 3, we would still hire a detail officer for it. That's just my personal preference. We've hired a detail officer in the past only one time when we had a door that was compromised and the establishment was going to be open. We hired an overnight detail. I absolutely want complete transparency with the police. They will know if the permit for the obstruction is granted, however many vendor tables I can get on the sidewalk so that these local businesses can come in and promote their businesses. I have absolutely no problem with that. And I think the board knows that that's something that I would do without you even asking. But I have no problem giving them every bit of information that I have in terms of setup time, breakdown time, and if anything goes astray, which I don't think that it's going to happen, I will definitely engage the services of the police. But I'm there almost every weekend. This is one weekend. I'm just going to say I'm on vacation. I needed it. So, I'm not there, but this is a day that I will be there from open to close, and I will be running all of this. This is 100% me.
Chief Nelson.
Mr. Chairman, is just a question for Attorney Solomon. Is the food prep all inside the restaurant, or are we cooking outside underneath the tent?
No. So the food prep is all inside with the intent of having servers to bring the food outside to them.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, I'd just like to add into Mr. Walsh's recommendation. I think moving forward, I certainly would like to see what their final diagram is going to be.
Yes.
The way the fire chief and I can go over it. And, because when we look at a diagram, okay, you have this vendor here, this vendor there. Him and I look at it as, okay, well, somebody collapses over here. How do we get to that person? Mm-hmm. How are we going to get them in and out, And that's not to say that anybody has disregard for it. They're just not programmed to think like that.
Right.
We are. Mm-hmm. So that's the only, caveat I would say is that any, for lack of a better word, floor plan design of this layout needs to be approved, by the fire chief and myself before implementation. That's all.
Good.
Right. The last thing we want is to be surprised by the attendance, and then we have to answer tough questions after.
Absolutely.
Well, why did this happen? Well,
Right,
we
right.
We weren't prepared for the crowd.
Right.
It could be a nice September,
Exactly.
Saturday in September could draw a crowd.
That's no different than what we've done with the carnival, for instance, when it was down at Imperial Chevy, the old Imperial Chevy.
That's right, yeah.
You had to have pathways where you could get staff and equipment in if someone needed assistance. So, I think leaving those professional decisions to you folks, as far as setting up tables, and obviously you don't want to block, access or egress.
Exactly.
So, I just, my opinion is, you're where the rubber meets the road. So, it's your decision. You've already made a determination that you're comfortable with the third option as presented by Attorney Solomon. And I would recommend that the board, that we move forward with that. And the reason that I don't believe we should delay is pretty much what was said by Mr. Villani. is we're literally 1 month away from when they want to have this particular event. If it was an event that, such as when the carnival wanted to go to the high school, that we were opposed for the reasons that we were not opposed when it was at Pheno Field or down at Imperial Chevy, because we relied upon professional people sitting in these seats to make those decisions of whether or not they would have reasonable access. So, again, I would leave it to the two chiefs. So my recommendation is that we should make a decision as to the three options first, because there's a permit to obstruct that we ought to do first.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the application and give a permit to obstruct for this block party at 31 Central Tavern, where it's going to be. It's going to be in the parking lot, driveway behind Brothers Tavern, and a sidewalk parking space abutting Brothers Tavern.
And Mr. Chairman, I would make that unanimous with the understanding that Attorney Solomon, that you will work closely with our chiefs to make sure that it's a safe and enjoyable event.
The next item on the agenda is a one-day, one-time entertainment license.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we approve the entertainment license for this block party that is going to be held on September 20th, 2025, from 11:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. for an entertainment license, outdoor games in a combination of audio speakers and music.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is approved. The last item is a one-day alcohol license for beer and wine only.
Yes, I make a motion that we approve the alcohol one-day license for this block party again on September 20th, 2025, from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m.
I'd make that unanimous, Mr. Chairman.
If I could just suggest an amendment, which I usually do, is to go 1 hour beyond the 6 p.m. to allow them the opportunity to not serve any other alcohol, but to allow people to consume that which they already purchased.
Very good.
So it'll be 7 p.m. And this is beer and wine only. Attorney Solomon, so that there's no misunderstanding, because it has occurred in the past, they cannot bring, because of this, they cannot bring an alcohol drink, a hot alcohol drink, from the establishment out into the area where the one-day liquor license is.
That's correct. Any hard alcohol, any mixed drinks would be served on premise.
Right.
Okay, just to make sure that
Yeah, again, Mr. Chair.
everybody has the same understanding.
I feel comfortable with this as well. I think we're in good hands with both chiefs for our public safety and also Attorney Solomon, who seems, who's been before us before and does have quite the experience in regarding alcohol license and what they can and cannot do to keep everybody safe. So I have, but it's going to be a continuous work in progress. As we said, it's something that is going to be keeping an eye on it and getting suggestions and more improvements until the party actually begins.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
So the event is unanimous.
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you, board.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chief. I'll be sure to reach out.
Thanks.
Take care.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Take care.
Thanks, Mark. The next item on the agenda is the Town Administrator Acceptance of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 12D, which is a particular statute dealing with alcoholic beverages in the ABCC.
The governor passed this on June, signed this, I'm sorry, into law on June 30th, and basically it allows local boards, this select board, to allow holders of on-premise wine and malt beverages, license holders to trade in their license for a non-transferable on-premise all alcoholic beverage license if you accept the new statute. I think the intent in talking to State Rep and Town Council Attorney Murray is, for a while, there has been a push to allow local boards to make more determinations as to types of alcohol licenses, number of alcohol licenses. It's somewhat of a compromise. Again, it's non-transferable, so if they discontinue, you're not going to create another license, all alcohol. So the first step would be for this board, if you're so inclined, is to accept Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 12D. They're having webinars that I will attend along with my administrative assistant, who handles these types of matters, to get further clarification and edification from the ABCC. But again, I think that's the intent behind it. But so you're not going to create more overall licenses. Again, non-transferable.
Any questions, gentlemen?
Yeah, I just have some comments. I read this over quite extensively and did some research on it as well, Mr. Chair. And I think the intention, too, of Governor Healy, again, like what Attorney Valani said, too, was not to make it so where they can transfer it, but when you look at it as a town, it could be meaningful to boost small businesses, especially restaurants where they had a tough time for the past several years.
Exactly, yeah.
And to expand their offering without going through the complex process of a new license.
And these are on premises.
On premises, and what, again, like the code, like the statute does say, it's non-transferable, so that it can't be sold or used to inflate any market value of their restaurant as well. There are clear guidelines for the application process. There's fees, there's a public notice, there's hearings, and this will ensure fairness for all applicants as well. And to me, I guess it's a smart way for local economy to be boosted and maintaining, at the same time, us maintaining oversight of it as well.
Absolutely. I would agree.
Clears up the blurred line of, because beer, wine, and cordials, you can essentially serve even liquor as long as it's flavored. So someone with the beer, wine, cordials, by way of example, can serve Captain Morgan rum, but they can't serve Bacardi rum.
Wow.
They can serve a vodka that has infused in it lime, lemon, you know, the hot pepper with vodka. There's so many different things, but as long as there's something else infused in it. So it takes away, and many people opt for the beer, wine, cordials with the hope that someday, you know, liquor will come about, because it does boost their business. It's a fact. So that's how the beer, wine, cordials came about. In any event, those licenses is to, I guess, kind of subvert the statute as far as license limitations. So I would recommend that we approve this. Do I have a motion?
A motion, Mr. Chair, to vote to approve the provisions of Mass General Laws, Chapter 138, Section 12D, which authorizes the Select Board to allow holders of wine and malt beverages license issued under Section 12 to apply for a non-transferable license for the sale of alcoholic beverages to be consumed on premises, subject to all applicable requirements under under Chapter 138, and approved by the Alcoholic Beverage Commission.
And I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous. Rick, the only thing I would suggest, now that we've approved this, is at some point, if it's up to those restaurants that have the beer, wine.
We have to do a memo to the ABCC, and then we will do a memo to each of them with a copy of the statute and with an explanation of what they can and cannot do at their whatever they choose to do. Yeah,
That'd be great.
Yep, thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Town Administrator concerning the transition of appointments related to the Town Planner.
Yes, as we know, fortunately, Larry is retiring in, well, a little less than 2 weeks now, or 2 weeks. So there's a number of appointed positions that the Town Planner is a representative to the MAPC, to the SWAP, Southwest Environmental Planning Committee, the 495 Metro West Partnership, the Milford Economic Development Commission, the EDC. So it's just transferring those responsibilities to the new Town Planner, who, as you know, has already started.
I don't have any issue.
I have-
I think that's a responsibility
Yeah.
that we gave to the town administrator
Absolutely.
several years ago, so, but I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Rick.
No, Larry was very thorough.
The next item on the agenda is the Lucas Denominee Legacy Foundation, a permit to obstruct the Walk for Suicide Awareness. This is an annual event.
Yep. I move, Mr. Chair, to make a motion that the Select Board approve the request for the Lucas Denominee Legacy Foundation for a permit to obstruct Sunday, September 14, 2025. This walk will begin at 9 a.m. for the purpose of holding a walk to benefit suicide awareness, which this event, we wish this event much success.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the Milford Youth Commission resignation from the commission. I've received a memo from Courtney Walsh indicating that she hopes that the summer camp is going well, and she regrets to inform the board that after some consideration, she's resigning from the Youth Commission effective immediately, and she hopes that everyone has a safe place to go vis-a-vis the youth center. And Michael, I think you're going to recuse on this. Is this? Okay. So I would make a motion that we accept the resignation with regret, and that we let Courtney Walsh know that we appreciate her service to the Youth Commission.
And I second that, Mr. Chair. I vote.
That is unanimous with
It is.
Michael recusing himself. Next item on the agenda is St. Mary the Assumption Parish, a one-day wine and malt. Oh, I skipped the special town meeting. Rick, I apologize.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, just setting a date, I worked with the finance director. He feels everything can be ready for an October 20 special town meeting date. Obviously, if it went a second night, we always do it following Wednesday, the 22nd. I'm there. The board just would need to vote to approve the date.
Do I have a motion?
A motion, Mr. Chair.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Now we'll deal with St. Mary's of the Assumption Parish, a one-day wine and malt beverage license.
Mr. Chair, after reviewing the application, I make a motion that we approve this application for a one-day liquor license for beer and wine only for St. Mary's Parish for September 13th, 2025, and the application does say 5:15 to 10 p.m., but as our chairman likes to recommend, and it makes perfect sense, that we go from 4:15 p.m. to 11 p.m. On September 13th, 2025 for this event.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous. Next item on the agenda is St. Mary's the Assumption Parish for a one-day entertainment license concerning the same event.
Mr. Chair, after reviewing the application, I make a motion that we approve this application for a one-time entertainment license for St. Mary's Parish to be held September 13, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. There will be a DJ or instrumentalist, vocal or music.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that is unanimous. Next item on the agenda is the Planning Board, a remand of a zoning bylaw amendment, accessory dwelling units, in parentheses, ADU.
Yep.
We did get some commentary from the state when the special legislation
Yeah.
came forward, so
Right.
Town Planner Duncan and now Town Planner Matt Benoit have worked on it. Town Council Murray has reviewed it, and it just needs to be remanded, so it's timely for this special town.
Absolutely.
Yes, okay, Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we remand a proposed zoning bylaw amendment regarding accessory dwelling units to the planning board for a public hearing and also to be included in the October 27, 2025. I believe that's October 30th now, right? Ricky?
20th.
I'm sorry, the 20th.
Correct, yeah.
A special
Correct,
town meeting.
yeah,
and-
we made that change today. Yeah, Thank you.
And these changes will bring the town into compliance with new legislation and feedback from the Attorney General's office.
I would second that, Mr. Chairman.
And that's unanimous. And the next item is the invitation to speak.
Michael?
Please come forward, Michael.
You sit down too long.
I know the feeling.
We all do.
Good evening, Michael.
Good evening.
Good evening, Michael.
The floor is yours, sir.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Please introduce yourself,
Certainly.
Mike, just so that it's on the record.
My name is Michael Visconti. I live at number 7 Muriel Lane in Milford. I came here tonight with the hopes of maybe getting an update on the status of a request I submitted regarding stop signs, both removal and installation. And if you like, I have copies of what, that I could give you of what the request was.
I recall it.
Okay.
So I don't need a copy of it.
I don't
John,
either.
sir,
I have
Michael.
it.
Okay. My original request was sent on March 18 of this year. I did politely ask for the status of my request on May 7th of this year. Hearing no response or receiving no response, I again asked politely for a status update on May 28th of this year. Once again, receiving no response and your board not discussing my request, I then submitted, once again politely, a request for a status update on June 10th of this year, which gets us to where we are now. And that's why I'm here, to see maybe if I could get some sort of update on the status of my request in terms of, will you be discussing it, or will you not be discussing it? And as important, if not more important, I'm wondering about the process for what correspondence your board discusses and who decides what correspondence requests go before your board for discussion. I say that only because it seems to me that for this request, which was submitted back in March 8, and still undiscussed, if that's a word, I don't know if that, Rick might know if that's a word, undiscussed, as far as I know at this point. So I don't know what the protocol is for when these requests, not just mine, but any request, comes before your board for discussion and vote.
I believe that, if I'm correct, and you can tell me if I'm not, I believe that your request is, it's exact, if not, I don't want to use the word simple, because I think it's exact to a request that you had made previously, which I know was addressed when I was the police chief, and I know that it was addressed when I was on the board at one point. As far as the erection of stop signs to deal with speed on the street where you live, or the neighborhood in which you live. And my recollection is that I know that I had put in writing, back when I served as the police chief, that the regulations don't allow for the use of stop signs to regulate speed. It's not an appropriate use. So I believe that that issue has been dealt with. As far as your question of who decides what is brought before the board. It's actually the chair that sets the agenda. I was of the view, or at least I believed, that you had been notified by Town Hall, out of Town Administrator's office, that this is a matter that we had already dealt with.
Yeah, I thought that too, Mr. Chairman. That's why, Michael, no, you know.
If I may,
But let me deal with the last issue, because when that decision was first made that signs would not be erected, stop signs, to regulate traffic, I know that you came with the retort that you believe then that we should take down the signs on Hamilton.
Hamilton Street was the one, yeah.
And at that time, the position of the board, I was not on the board, I was the police chief, that I know that that wouldn't take place because there was little information, if any, I don't believe there was any, as to why those signs were put up on Hamilton Street. If it was to regulate traffic, the speed of traffic, then the question would have been, at the time when that was done, were the regulations the same? I don't know. I don't have any answer for you. So that's why Hamilton Street was never addressed, to take signs down.
I hear you. The request that you cited, the first request you cited, has really nothing to do with this request. That request was dealt with and denied, and I understand that. And I received notice that was, actually, I think I might have been here when it was denied.
I think it was, yeah.
This is a different request based on my research and my communications with Mass DOT. And I did forward to your board the communication from Mass DOT confirming that to regulate speed with stop signs is a direct violation of Mass General Laws. I believe it's Chapter 85, Section 2, if I'm not mistaken. I could have the section wrong. In any case, it's a direct
Stop sign,
violation.
right.
It's a direct violation of
right.
Mass General Laws. I believe it's 85, Section 2,
Correct.
which has been in place forever. So the law was in place when it was completely ignored and those stop signs were erected to control speed. If you look at the minutes of the board meeting that approved those stop signs, along with the chief's recommendation, you'll see that it's not, the minutes are not detailed enough to indicate why those stop signs were put up. But the discussion and the request that evening was specifically detailed to control speed and only to control speed. That board completely ignored Mass General Laws. As a result, those signs sit there today illegally, and they need to be removed immediately, if not sooner, unless your board chooses to ignore Mass General Law, Chapter 85, Section 2. Now, if your board does decide to ignore Mass General Laws, then the second half of my request was to install stop signs, and I've indicated where, to control speed on another street in Milford. And who knows, maybe many other streets in Milford will now have stop signs to control speed. I forgive what I see now might be a little bit of sarcasm if I close by saying what's good for the goose, on and on. So.
Yeah, let me say, Michael, that I don't disagree with you at all. I wouldn't recommend that signs be posted, stop signs, purposes of controlling speed. As it relates to Hamilton Street, I didn't find any information that told me that those signs were put for purposes of regulating speed. If they were, I would recommend that we take them down. Just as I did with speed signs throughout the town. You may recall, I had them taken down speed signs throughout the town because there were no warrants, meaning the paperwork from Mass DOT allowing for the speed sign to be put up. So I'm not for putting up signs for the sake of putting up signs for purposes that they're not designed for. Now, if you're telling me that in the minutes of a meeting of the board, that those signs, they specifically said, those signs on Hamilton were put up to regulate speed, I'm all for taking them down then.
No, actually, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying...
I couldn't find anything.
Nor could I. All I'm going by is what was discussed at the meeting and what was requested at the meeting. And it was specifically to control speed.
Is that recorded, Mike?
No, this goes back, well,
Yeah, is
well,
there-
I know.
You know what I mean?
I hear you, I understand that.
I'll tell you, I'd take down the stop signs on Hamilton in 10 seconds.
Signs don't belong there, they're a
They're
direct
annoying.
violation.
Tell you the truth, I think. they're-
I didn't come here to argue, I just came here to
No,
present.
but I'm not arguing with you at all.
He's not.
I agree with you.
The
He's
signs were a
agreeing.
direct violation.
Yeah, and Michael, if we could have any proof that they were there because, they were put there as a result of the select board ordering that because of speed, like our chairman says, we're definitely
them down
asked to
tonight.
take them down tomorrow morning.
Okay, well, if you review MUT-CD, which is Mass DOT's acronym for Municipal Uniform
Traffic control devices.
Traffic control devices, okay? You will see that where those signs are is a direct violation. Regardless of what the minutes say, regardless of what the request was, the signs are a violation and need to be
Only if
removed.
they were put up for speed.
Well, there's no other reason to have stop signs there.
What about the intersection? Cars coming either direction.
No, there's no,
There's one that's not evident.
and then the stop sign should be on the side street, not the main road.
Well, that's usually. It matters what it presents as far as the danger. I believe that there's one of the stop signs on Hamilton that is not at an intersection.
There is. It's at somebody's driveway, believe it or not. I would love to, can I have a stop sign at my driveway so I can get out easily? Come on, give me a break here. Excuse my language, but jeepers.
Your point is well taken.
Very well, yeah.
That, once again, I didn't come here to argue, just to present my case.
You make sense, Michael.
And also, my contact at Mass DOT is anxious for me to get back to him with respect to what you have voted on this issue, okay? Because
Excuse me, Mr. Chair.
he's very interested in knowing how you voted on this. Anyway,
They can
and
The state can order that a sign be taken down. That's how I dealt with the speed
well,
sign.
I don't know that they're
Oh,
going
they
to
can. They
to
can.
that extent, but
Yeah.
And Mr. Chair, I was always going to recommend if Michael can get a hold of his contact and if he can give us some documentation that it should be taken down, we'll definitely act on it.
It's
down.
he's going to cite the uniform traffic control devices.
which he did, and you have that correspondence from him.
But if he can relate that to that particular stop sign, then that way there we can,
I think the regulations do speak to it. You know, I get exactly what Mike Visconti's talking about.
I do too.
You know, we can all sit here and wink at each other and say, it's, you know, it's pretty obvious why it was put there. I just couldn't find anything that told me that when I was the police chief, that I could then come to the board and say, take that down.
You need some
Because it
sort of
doesn't
proof.
belong there. What I would suggest is that we ask the police chief, you know, does that sign have any utility, meaning the proper use of a stop sign, other than to regulate the speed of vehicles on Hamilton Street?
To add insult, excuse me if I may, to add insult to injury, if you sit down there for an hour, okay, you will see that very few, if any, cars stop at those stop signs. What slows traffic down in that street right now is the 06 vehicle parked there at somebody's house.
Oh,
It's the state cruiser.
Yeah,
State police
Fernandez,
cruiser.
yeah.
I don't know who it is, but
Oh, I know who she is,
that's what slows people down.
yeah. Hey, she's.
Well, I think that's a good idea, Tom.
Yeah,
If
I
we
do
could-
too.
If we could make that where we could, consult with our police chief and see what he
Right.
thinks and take the appropriate
He should come
action
down
according
and
to his
take 'em down.
recommendation.
She's a good person and a very good police officer. It's, but the same thing, Michael, people will become accustomed to seeing that cruiser there without a trooper in it.
I got to tell you, I'm guilty as charged, okay?
No, don't confess to anything.
No. I perform a beautiful California stop, okay, and just cruise right through those stop signs, pretty much.
I think that
Yeah, I'm telling.
we should ask the police
There's a
chief
chief on the
if there's
phone.
any
Yeah,
utility to any of those stop signs. I know that there's one at an intersection, the one at the driveway,
Yeah, I mean, come on.
very questionable.
Let us
talk.
So if we put a stop sign in your
I know you're
driveway,
very
now you gotta
busy.
get out.
Thank you for giving me your time. I have one other quick,
Very busy. Go
one
ahead.
other quick request that I really wasn't, not even going to talk about until the issue came up when you voted earlier on
I'm timing your 5 minutes.
on
just so
a
you know.
transfer of license, okay, for a property on Purchase Street. And I know the request for the town department you send out comes back clean, yeah, let's go. I can tell you now that there are numerous accessibility violations, both federal and state, on that property. So I was under the impression that, compliance was required before you go ahead and approve licenses and whatever.
Accessibility, you're dealing with whether or not the property itself has, faced reconstruction or some other extensive rehab, and then they're going to be held to the accessibility standards as far as rebuilding. I don't believe that transfer of a liquor license triggers that.
It may not, but it could have, I'm not criticizing, it could have been made a condition of the transfer. That the building, but my bigger concern is when that form comes back to you, no problems. There are problems.
There are no problems as it relates to that particular facility and
In the sale of
the governance of the law to it.
Correct.
We can't impose standards onto them. We can't say to them, you have to make that property fully accessible in order for you to transfer that liquor license. Frankly, they just, any lawyer representing them would just walk out the door and go directly to the APCC.
And it wouldn't, for a store like that, it wouldn't be
Can't do
only
it.
liquor. It'd be like deli meat or whatever, you know what I mean?
Be every business.
It'd be everything in the store that would be, that would have to.
I understand that, but it would act as an incentive, if you will, okay, to make the property accessible.
I don't disagree as far as, for the base of the customers, and if anybody is going to stand up and deal with those issues, I always have.
That'd be a separate
I'm
entity.
going to. I don't think you can impose on that business owner that they have to now adapt the property when they don't have to, in order to deal with the liquor license, because it's not a requirement under the liquor laws.
Yeah, and if I may, in closing, I'm a little embarrassed because
Don't be.
I am a trained community accessibility monitor, okay? Took training courses at Mass Office on Disability. And I meant to check with my guy, if you will, at MOD, present to him the situation and see if, what his take on it was. But, coulda, shoulda, woulda, right? Anyway, I don't know. What I'm going to do now is go check with him now, and so he can tell me what should have happened.
Okay.
But anyway.
I welcome you to raise it. I have no problem with that.
I've taken up too much of your time
No, you
already.
haven't.
Thank you again.
All right, Michael, thank you.
Thank you very much. I wish everybody was as concerned as you are.
Well, what I think is, though, here's the other thing I think. I said it was done, but, and I am. I'm not going to even say it.
You're like Columbo, one more.
While that form, I would like to see that form, I know it goes to department heads, I would like to see it go, the request go to Milford Commission on Disability for their input on projects. As a matter of fact, in our bylaws, chapter, I want to say 27, section, I want to say section 6, but I'm not certain of that. Again, I should know these things, but I don't. Anyway, new projects, plans, and requests are required to go to the Milford Commission on Disability for their input. Now, we have not received, we received plans, I think, once on a new project. So maybe if there's something you can do to, I don't know, inspire, I don't know, expedite the commission receiving, complying with the bylaws. That's all I'm asking. I'm only asking that we comply with the bylaws. And believe me, when I'm non-compliant with the bylaws, I want to be told so that I can take the necessary steps as best I can to correct what I'm doing wrong. Town administrator usually keeps me in line.
Not easy. Only kidding.
Well, let's just say I tried. No, I'm all set.
Okay?
I'm all set, Paul. Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Take care, Mike.
Once again, thank you for your time. Stay healthy. I'll see you around.
You as well.
See you in church.
And we'll get back to you, Mike, on Hamilton.
I had to tell my other skill that I was taking the summer off here because I go south. So I won't see him for a while.
Doing.
I'll tell them tomorrow.
You're researching too much.
Anyway, thank you again.
Thank
You're welcome, Mike.
Take care.
Excuse my back as I walk up. Thank you very much. Take care.
Do we have any correspondence, gentlemen?
I don't have any, Mr. Chairman.
You're not, Mr. Chairman?
Nor do I. Rick?
No, sir.
And we do not have an executive session this evening, so if I could have a motion to adjourn.
A motion to adjourn, Mr. Chair.
And I will gladly second that, Mr. Chairman.
That is unanimous, and we thank you for tuning in, those of you who did so, those who will watch it later, and we appreciate the people that attended tonight and presented us with information.
Good.
Have a great August. We're folding it out and headed to school time.
Exactly,
That's it.
yeah, that's right.
Another week or
Add the
so.
buses to the traffic.
Good evening.